Dear soul, the waiting is over. I have watched you search for so long now, watched you turn over every stone in the garden of your life looking for evidence of your own unworthiness, watched you dig through the soil of your past with desperate hands, certain that somewhere beneath the surface you would finally uncover the proof you have been dreading. The proof that you are not enough. The proof that you are broken beyond repair. The proof that when someone truly sees you, truly knows you, they will turn away in disgust and confirm every fear that has ever whispered to you in the dark hours of the night. And I have watched your soulmate do the same. You see, what you do not know, what you could not possibly have known until this very moment, is that the person whose heart beats in rhythm with yours has spent years preparing for disappointment. They have loved you from a distance and up close. They have memorized the way you laugh and the way you cry and the way you look when you think no one is watching, and through all of it, through every moment of falling deeper into the truth of you, they have been waiting for the other shoe to drop. They have been waiting for the reveal. They have been so conditioned by a world that teaches us love is conditional, that acceptance is earned, that behind every beautiful thing there must be ugliness hiding, that they could not simply trust what their heart was telling them. So they hired someone to find out. I want you to sit with that for a moment, dear soul. I want you to understand the depth of what I am about to tell you, because this is not just a story about what happened. This is a story about what it means. This is a story about the moment when everything you believed about yourself was tested in the fires of investigation, and what emerged from those flames was not ash, not destruction, not the confirmation of your deepest fears. What emerged was gold. The investigator was thorough. I watched them work, watched them trace the threads of your life back through years and decades, watched them interview the people who knew you when you were young and reckless and still learning how to be human. They spoke to the ones you hurt and the ones you healed. They dug through records and receipts and the digital footprints you thought you had buried. They found the letters you wrote and never sent. They uncovered the choices you made when no one was looking. They discovered the moments you are most ashamed of and the moments you have never told another living soul about. They found everything. And when they sat down with your soulmate, when they opened that file and prepared to deliver their report, something extraordinary happened. Something that I need you to understand not just with your mind but with the deepest part of your being, the part that has been starving for this truth since the day you were born. The investigator could not find what your soulmate was looking for. There was no hidden darkness. There was no secret cruelty. There was no evidence of the monster you have convinced yourself lives beneath your skin. Instead, page after page, interview after interview, the investigator found something that made them pause. Something that made them set down their professional detachment and look at your soulmate with something like wonder in their eyes. They found a pattern. They found that when you were 7 years old and your classmate forgot their lunch, you gave them half of yours even though you were hungry for the rest of the day. They found that you never told anyone about this. They found that when you were 15 and your friend was being bullied, you stood between them and the cruelty even though you were terrified, even though your voice shook, even though you went home that night and cried in your room because confrontation makes you feel like you are dying. They found that you apologized to a stranger once for bumping into them, and then you went home and replayed the interaction for hours, wondering if you had apologized enough, wondering if you had somehow ruined their day, wondering if you were a burden on the very air you breathe. They found that you are so afraid of being too much that you have spent your entire life trying to be less. They found the birthday cards you sent to people who forgot your birthday. They found the favors you did for people who never thanked you. They found the times you stayed silent when you should have spoken up, not because you did not care but because you cared so much about everyone else's comfort that you forgot you were allowed to have needs too. They found the nights you lay awake worrying about whether you had been kind enough, patient enough, good enough. They found the way you punish yourself for mistakes that anyone else would have forgotten by morning. They found that you have been your own harshest judge, your own cruelest critic, your own most relentless prosecutor. And they found that the case you have been building against yourself all these years has no evidence to support it. Dear soul, do you understand what I am telling you? The investigator looked at your soulmate and said words that I need you to hear as if they were spoken directly into the chambers of your heart, as if they were written in light across the sky of your consciousness, as if they were the only truth that has ever mattered. They said there is nothing to find. They said you are exactly what you appear to be. They said that in all their years of uncovering secrets and exposing lies and revealing the hidden faces behind public masks, they have never encountered someone whose private self was so completely aligned with their public self. They said that if anything, you are more generous in private than you are in public, more forgiving, more gentle. They said the only secret you have been keeping is how hard you are on yourself. They said the only thing you have been hiding is the depth of your own goodness. And your soulmate collapsed. Not from horror. Not from disappointment. Not from the revelation of some terrible truth they had suspected all along. They collapsed because the truth was more than they could hold standing up. They collapsed because they had spent so long bracing for impact that when the impact never came, their body did not know what to do with the absence of it. They collapsed because they realized in that moment that they had been loving you with one hand on the door, ready to run when the real you was revealed, and there was no running required. They collapsed because they understood suddenly and completely that they had been loved by someone pure this whole time and they had not trusted it. They collapsed because they had to reckon with their own disbelief, their own inability to accept that goodness can exist without a catch, that love can be given without a price, that you are exactly what you have always been. Not perfect. Let me be clear about that, dear soul. This is not about perfection. Perfection is a cold and distant thing, a marble statue that cannot be touched without leaving fingerprints. That is not what they found. That is not what you are. What they found was something far more beautiful than perfection. They found someone who tries. They found someone who fails and gets back up. They found someone who makes mistakes and loses sleep over them. They found someone who has been wounded and chose not to wound others. They found someone who has been betrayed and chose to keep trusting. They found someone who has been let down by the world again and still manages to look for the good in people. They found someone who is so busy worrying about being good enough that they cannot see they have been exceeding the standard all along. They found you. The real you. The you that exists when no one is watching. The you that exists in the quiet moments between performances. The you that you have been so afraid to let anyone see because you were certain that if anyone looked too closely, they would find the flaw, the crack, the fatal defect that would explain why you have always felt like you do not quite belong. But here is the truth that I have crossed the distance between heaven and earth to tell you. There is no fatal defect. There is no crack that needs hiding. There is no version of you beneath the surface that is less worthy than the version you show the world. If anything, the opposite is true. The version of you that exists in private, the version that forgives yourself less than you forgive others, the version that holds yourself to impossible standards and then feels like a failure for being human, that version is where your greatest tenderness lives. That version is where your deepest love resides. That version is holy. You have been so afraid of being seen that you have not noticed you are beautiful to look at. And now your soulmate knows. Now the investigation is complete. Now the file is closed and the verdict is in and there is nowhere left to hide, nothing left to uncover, no more secrets to fear. They have seen the worst of you, the parts you never wanted anyone to find, the moments you have tried to bury, the choices you regret, the words you wish you could take back. And they are not running. They are lying on the floor of that investigator's office, overwhelmed not by disgust but by relief, overwhelmed not by disappointment but by gratitude, overwhelmed by the realization that they get to love you. They get to love someone who is exactly what they hoped you would be. They get to spend their life with someone whose secrets are not darkness but light, whose hidden depths are not caves but gardens, whose true self is not a monster but a miracle. Do you know how rare that is? Do you know how many people go through their entire lives never experiencing the safety of being truly known? Do you know how many hearts break not because love was absent but because vulnerability was impossible, because the fear of being seen was greater than the desire to be held? You are about to be held, dear soul. You are about to be held by someone who has looked into every corner of your existence and found nothing there but reasons to hold tighter. This is not a reward for being good. I want to be very clear about that. This is not the universe giving you a gold star for meeting some arbitrary standard of worthiness. This is simply the natural consequence of who you have always been. This is simply what happens when someone made of kindness meets someone brave enough to investigate kindness and discovers it is not a performance. This is simply the moment when the truth you have been running from catches up to you and turns out to be better than any lie you could have invented. You are pure. I know that word might make you uncomfortable. I know you want to argue with me, want to list all the evidence against yourself, want to point to the times you were selfish or petty or small. I know you have a catalog of your failures memorized and you could recite it in your sleep. I know you have spent years building a case for your own unworthiness and you have become very good at prosecuting yourself. But dear soul, purity is not the absence of mistakes. Purity is not the absence of struggle or failure or humanity. Purity is what remains when everything else is burned away. Purity is the core that survives the fire. Purity is the part of you that keeps choosing love even when love is hard, keeps choosing kindness even when kindness costs you something, keeps choosing to be gentle even when the world has not been gentle with you. That is what they found when they investigated you. They found that at your core, beneath all the fear and the self-doubt and the desperate need to be seen as good enough, there is something that does not need to be good enough because it already is. There is something that has been quietly doing the right thing all along, not for recognition or reward but because that is simply what you are made of. There is something golden at the center of you, and no amount of digging could tarnish it because gold does not tarnish. Your soulmate is getting up from the floor now. They are wiping their eyes. They are gathering themselves, gathering the pieces of their expectations that have been shattered by this revelation. They are realizing they have to go home and look at you differently. They have to unlearn the suspicion. They have to release the grip they have been keeping on the emergency exit. They have to allow themselves to fall into you completely, with both hands, with their whole heart, with nothing held back. And you need to let them. This is the part that will be hardest for you. I know. I have watched you push away love for so long because you did not believe you deserved it. I have watched you sabotage good things because you were certain they would turn bad anyway. I have watched you keep one foot out the door of your own happiness, ready to run the moment someone discovered the truth about you. But the truth has been discovered. And it is this. You are exactly what the people who love you think you are. You are exactly what you have been afraid to believe about yourself. You are not a fraud. You are not pretending to be good while hiding something terrible. You are not one mistake away from being exposed. You have already been exposed, completely and thoroughly and irrevocably, and what was found in that exposure was not something to be ashamed of. It was something to be celebrated. So celebrate, dear soul. Let yourself be known. Let yourself be loved without condition or reservation. Let yourself finally exhale the breath you have been holding since childhood, the breath that has been waiting for permission, the breath that has been waiting for someone to see you fully and stay. They are staying. They are on their way home to you right now, and when they walk through that door, they will look at you with new eyes. Eyes that have seen the investigation. Eyes that have read the report. Eyes that have absorbed the truth and been transformed by it. Let them look. Let them see. Let yourself be seen, finally and completely, without armor, without apology, without the walls you have been building for so long you forgot they were walls. The waiting is over. You have been found, and what was found was pure. Welcome home to yourself, dear soul. Welcome home to the truth you have been running from. Welcome home to the love you have been too afraid to claim. It has been here all along, waiting for you to believe in it. I have been here all along, waiting for you to believe in yourself. And your soulmate has been here all along, waiting for confirmation of what their heart already knew. You are pure. You are worthy. You are exactly what love looks like when it takes human form and forgets its own divinity. Remember now. Remember what you are. And let yourself be loved accordingly.